Before we begin, quick shout out to our sponsor, Quid. Quid is the awesome app where you can collect digital trading cards, stickers, and Funko Pop toys of your favorite shows, and even a few comics and video games. Rick and Morty, Marvel, DC, Cuphead, and you already know, Steven Universe. Sometimes when watching Steven Universe, I think to myself, wow, this shot's straight from a trading card game. And evidently, Quid feels the same way. There's tons of trading cards and stickers to collect, from the very beginning up until recent events like Steven Universe Stranded. More info on Quid later in the video, link in the description for iOS and Android. Well. Look where we are now. I said all this months ago, almost a year ago, and y'all booed me. Y'all were coming at me. Some of y'all were like, maybe he's got a point, you know? But a lot of y'all were skeptical. I was right, and y'all booed me. I don't care if this video doesn't get the most views. I don't care if I don't get the most attention. I don't care if I don't get my recognition. This is a W for me, because I was right. Oh crap, do I have my script up? I don't need a script for this beginning. Hello everyone, welcome back to Tom Was Right. Yeah, that's right. Dog, Iggy, why are you doing this? This is my moment. Anyways, welcome back to me being right. That's right, I made a Rose Quartz rant almost a year ago. And back then, it was very controversial. I mean, a lot of people agreed with me, thankfully. But it was also very controversial. AWESTRUCKVOX had to put damage control before it because he was like, yo, this ain't a popular opinion. Like, I gotta make sure that people don't eat Tom alive. Because he was concerned about that. He was concerned about people who love Rose Quartz reverting to cannibalism and eating me. And now the show has progressed and developments have made it so everybody and their grandmother has a Rose Quartz was the bad guy video. And guess what? I was the original person to make that video, and I'm not mad. I don't want to hear anybody saying, oh, you're being negative, oh, you're mad. Nah, I'm ecstatic. This is a W for me. I'm victorious. I was right. Do you know how often people are right about controversial things? I'm not sure, but it doesn't happen very often for me, so let's celebrate. Praise base straight edge God. Pour one out. I'm not pouring out good Pepsi. I also just brushed my teeth, so I'm not going to drink this right now. This was a poor decision. It's going to get flat before I get to drink it. Anyways, so about that other video, if you want to watch it, go ahead. You know, it's a very great tool for, like, from that video to this video, kind of see how much I grew. But I mean, I'm going to try and give you context for everything, so you don't have to do that, because that video was from a long time ago. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know how to do white balance correctly. I look like Pink Diamond in that video. I don't even know how it's possible, but I managed to do it. What's more important though is I think that a lot of you should probably watch my last Runaway Club, where I talk about how you can not like a character and it's not bad writing or anything. Like, sometimes you just don't like characters and it doesn't reflect the writers or the crew or whoever, because I think this was the intention. I don't think we were supposed to like Rose Quartz. I just saw the signs early on. I could sense it. I got a good sense for when people are shady, and I knew that Rose Quartz was shady from the get-go. Also, because that video was from so long ago, some of my stances have changed a little bit here and there. I'm gonna talk about like how I felt then and how I feel now a little bit, not too much. I don't want to dwell on the past that much, but this is moving forward. Same idea in the present day, you know? That's the whole idea of this. I broke down my last video into sections about how the actions of Rose Quartz affected Greg, Steven, and Pearl. Now, I'm going to revisit those characters and cover more characters who I left out before, but with both Pearl and Steven, I have quite a bit more I want to say, and when it comes to Greg, I'll just get this out of the way and say I think I may have been exaggerating a bit last time around, alright? Greg did love Rose, and he made some irresponsible decisions for a relationship, like not getting a job and almost starving to death, but that's not really on Rose. And that episode, Greg the babysitter, did end with him getting a job, and as far as we know, Rose wasn't going to Greg like, nope, you gotta quit your job and spend time with me, so she's clear on that accusation. However, I still feel like Rose never really loved Greg, as much as she was just infatuated with him. She found his humanity intriguing, and she wanted to experience that. Rose loves the idea of Greg. She loves his compassion and how human he is, but at the same time, she doesn't really respect him, and she doesn't always return the compassion he shows her. By the way, I'm going to use Rose Quartz and Pink Diamond interchangeably based on the context of the conversation, or based on whoever I'm talking about and their relationship to Rose Quartz. So after the most recent special, I've realized that Pink Diamond had a bit of an obsession with change. She liked the idea of change, and she did some things to kind of force things to change, whether it was necessarily for the good or bad, or she didn't really think the consequences through. A big example is Pink Diamond staging her own death really changed the way that Homeworld saw the hierarchy of gems. And I'll admit that it was effective, making the diamonds fear that there was a gem out there that wasn't a diamond that could shatter a diamond. However, I'm not sure how much that really accomplished, but it almost seems like Pink Diamond really didn't need to be Rose Quartz. And yeah, you can say she was scared, she was whatever. I mean, to me, it just seems like she was trying to run away from her responsibilities. And that's not unfair of me to say, I don't think, because as I mentioned in my last video a lot, Rose Quartz often shows that she doesn't want to deal with responsibility. She runs away from her problems and acts irrationally and impulsively when dealing with problems a lot because she just doesn't want to deal with them. I mean, I would love to go out and just walk on the beach every day and just relax and not have to worry about anything, but that's not how the world works. I could do that. I could easily do that. I could just completely ignore all of my responsibilities and just be like, yep, I'm going to the beach today, and I'm not gonna let anything bother me. But bro, that's not healthy. That's not good for you or the people around you. That's not good for your environment. It's just irresponsible. But yeah, enough of that. Let's go into Bismuth. Someone I neglected to talk about in the first Rose Quartz video I made is Bismuth. In fact, in hindsight, it's actually a huge mistake that I overlooked Bismuth when discussing the flaws of Rose Quartz. Why is that? Well, this quote from Rebecca Sugar and Ian JQ from the Steven Universe podcast, hosted by the awesome Mackenzie Atwood, says everything about why Bismuth is so important to this discussion.
Why did you decide to unbubble her then rather than earlier on?
We were trying to pace out everyone's feelings about Rose Quartz. Yeah. And this is the turning point where you find out that Rose Quartz is a really awful person.
Yeah.
I mean, Bismuth adored Rose.
You can see in this story, like point blank, Rose was wrong.
For a little bit of context, Bismuth was doing her job as a weaponsmith for the crystal gems, and she created a weapon designed to shatter gems. And Rose didn't like this, so she handled the situation by poofing Bismuth and keeping her bubbled away in Lion's Mane, and she lied to everyone about what happened. She lied to all of Bismuth's allies and friends, and told them that she had disappeared instead of what really happened. By not telling the other gems and trying to sweep the situation under a rug, Rose was very much in the wrong. Not giving Bismuth or her friends the right to know what happened between her and Rose Quartz was really unfair. It was dishonest, to say the least. And we can't even be sure of the tone or the nature of what went down between Bismuth and Rose Quartz, because yes, Bismuth acted hostile towards Steven, but we can't say that this outburst from Bismuth wasn't possibly out of self-defense. Like, we don't know what went down. We don't know if Rose Quartz, when Bismuth brought the shattering, what did she call it? I'll just put a soundbite in here.
Breaking point.
That's what it's called. When she created it, we don't know if Rose Quartz reacted immediately in a hostile way. That even the idea that Bismuth would create such a weapon meant that she couldn't be trusted. And this has been mentioned in other people's videos, but Rose probably thought she was in danger because she's a diamond, and Bismuth made a weapon to shatter diamonds. So Rose came in, Bismuth told her about the weapon, showed it to her, and Rose was like, unacceptable, you getting poofed, I'm putting you away. Like, we don't know if that's how things went down. We don't know how aggressive Rose was. We don't know. It's possibly very rational for Bismuth to react the way she did, because she's like, you ain't poofing me again. Like, if I'm not fighting you, you're gonna try and poof me again and put me back in that lion, and I don't want that. I just got out. My point is the situation was very vague. We don't know exactly what went down, but the fact that Rose felt the need to hide it from everyone, the fact that she wasn't willing to be accountable for what she did, that alone is very just not cool. And it also brings into question whether she even thought her actions were justified, making it very suspicious as to whether or not Bismuth was in the wrong at all. And also, no matter what, the fact that she didn't tell anyone, the fact that Rose kept it from the other crystal gems, from Bismuth's friends, makes it seem like Rose saw Bismuth as expendable and not that valuable, which genuinely hurts Bismuth, because Bismuth made the weapon for Rose, hoping she would be happy and proud of her. Bismuth genuinely looked up to Rose and believed that Rose saw her as more than just her role. Bismuth thought Rose was her friend, but the fact that Rose was more than willing to just
poof her and hide her away from everyone without even telling them the truth about what happened. That's a painful thing for Bismuth to realize. Her outburst at Steven was completely directed at Rose. It was her realizing how Pink Diamond failed to be what Rose Quartz was supposed to represent. And yes, I say that assuming that Bismuth was completely unaware that Rose Quartz was Pink Diamond. But what I mean is Pink Diamond was the actor essentially role-playing as Rose Quartz. On paper, Rose Quartz is empathetic. She wants gems to be free, but Pink Diamond's personal character wasn't as pure as she imagined Rose Quartz to be, so she ended up doing things that didn't follow what she said as Rose Quartz, and Bismuth was lashing out at her because of an example of her failing to do that. Even though Bismuth didn't know that Rose was Pink Diamond, she could tell that the identity of Rose Quartz, this idea, wasn't who she really was. She knew that the Rose Quartz that she was led to believe in wouldn't have treated that situation in such an irresponsible and selfish manner. And this makes her question the legitimacy of everything that Rose Quartz taught her, this person who made her believe in herself, who made her believe that gems could be more than what they're told they can be. So understandably, Bismuth is hurt by what we now know as the audience to be a big facade on the part of Rose Quartz. What Pink Diamond did was lie to everyone, but I don't doubt that there are large traces of who Pink Diamond really is deep down in Rose Quartz. And I'm assuming that what we actually see of Rose Quartz is who Pink Diamond really is, just going by a different name and under a different appearance. But like I said, Rose Quartz is a character. Even in the context of the show, Rose Quartz is fictional. She's an idea which Pink Diamond was trying to live up to, and that's the person she represents to everyone who she brings into the rebellion. Regardless of intentions, which I don't think were malicious, what she was doing was lying to people who were willing to give up everything they had to fight for her cause. And their belief in that cause was strongly rooted to their belief in their leader. A leader who they were made to believe was someone completely different from who she actually was. And we know that Rose's followers aren't just okay with this based on the promo for the upcoming summer return. Now, okay, hold up. I know that Cartoon Network very often markets Steven Universe as a lot more hype and a lot more story-driven than it actually turns out to be. But this scene can't be taken out of context. Sapphire's straight up saying Rose lied to them. She feels hurt. She feels betrayed. Like, there's no Again, another quick thanks to today's sponsor, Quid, the overly addicting app where you can collect digital trading cards, stickers, and Funko Pop toys. You won't find these in stores, they're only on Quid, including some smash hit Cartoon Network shows, Steven Universe, Adventure Time, Gumball, and that's just scratching the surface. Now stickers are definitely my favorite part of Quid. These stickers aren't just for show, every last sticker you collect can be plopped onto your iMessage and photos. Look, we're hanging with Finn. There's tons of freebies for these stickers, cards, and toys, but you typically buy these with coins, which you can get thousands of every few hours just by logging in. Where else does that happen? The downside is that everything can sell out, especially the really cool ones. But if they do, that's where trading comes in. I guarantee if someone has something you want, you have something they want. Get out here, get social, negotiate. Speaking of being social, we're on the app as well. Username is AWESTRUCKVOX. Quid is available for iOS and Android. Links in the description. Now back to the show. There's no misrepresenting that. Moving forward, the facade that was Rose Quartz will foster a sense of betrayal in a lot of her followers. When you make such a huge life decision and put your life in danger, and it labels you as a war criminal for the rest of your life, and you make that decision for the sake of a person who turns out to be someone else entirely, there's going to be a sense of violation. You feel like you were taken advantage of, and convinced by the idea of a person, to find out your judgment was swayed. Pink Diamond's decision to be Rose Quartz directly affected everyone who fought for her, because from how it comes across, she didn't want to be accountable for her own rebellion. Pink Diamond found it easier to act as someone else, to stay anonymous instead of taking a stand as Pink Diamond. But everyone who chose to follow her did have to take that stand and put themselves out there without even having the protection of being a diamond. And while we're on that topic, let's look at the diamonds, who may be tyrannical overlords, but they still have emotions and vulnerabilities, and Blue and Yellow are devastated by the fact that they think Pink Diamond is dead. They loved her. They may have disagreed with her and been strict with her, but they're coded as parental figures to Pink Diamond. And unfortunately, parents are like that sometimes, and it sucks to feel like your parents are limiting you, but that doesn't mean that they don't love you and wouldn't be devastated if something happened to you. So with that being taken into consideration, the fact that Pink Diamond was fine with making Blue and Yellow, who did love her a lot and did want what they thought was best for her, believed that she had been shattered in favor of revealing herself as being Rose Quartz all along, it's kind of heartless. I know we're talking about the diamonds, but just because you consider someone a bad person doesn't justify putting them through something like the loss of a child. Perhaps Pink Diamond felt like she had no other choice, but isn't Rose Quartz adored and inspirational to the Crystal Gems for the fact that she was brave enough to stand against Homeworld? That bravery feels a bit watered down when you realize those actions were done behind the safety of an alias. It would have been brave if Pink Diamond stood up to the other diamonds herself. Maybe it would have even avoided a war if she gave the ultimatum that she would go to war with them if they wouldn't leave Earth alone. Because I have a feeling the diamonds wouldn't want to go to war with someone who is essentially their baby. And even if they did go ahead and go to war with her, would that have been any worse than what ended up happening? What was there to lose in this situation? Maybe we'll find out that the diamonds had a button to kill Pink Diamond if she rebelled or something, or some sort of information that I don't know. For what I have, I've seen no good reason besides her own fear and her own insecurities for Pink Diamond to need to be Rose Quartz. I can't think of a single reason that isn't selfish on her part. And again, this is not directed at the people who write the show. I'm sure Rebecca Sugar wanted this. I'm sure she wanted to portray the character in this way. Back to the narrative though, I understand the reasoning behind Pink Diamond wanting to shatter herself, but I don't agree with that reasoning, especially with how it affected Pearl. Now this scene is open to interpretation, but to me and a lot of people I've talked to, the interaction between Pink Diamond and Pearl right before the stage shattering feels very uncomfortable and one-sided. It seems like something that Pearl didn't really want to do, and I'd even go as far as to say Pink coerced her into doing it. And with the weight of what was happening, of what she was being asked to do, with the trauma that Pearl carries with her because of these events, are probably why she's so obsessed with Rose. Why she was so hurt by Rose's relationship with Greg, hurt by the idea of seeing Pink with anyone but her after being asked so much of. Her willingness to sacrifice everything for Pink just for her to keep secrets from her.
I'm the only other crystal gem who's ever witnessed the armory's magnificence before now.
Lion showed me.
The lion?
This is what has made it so hard for Pearl to let go. Now, I'm not saying that Pearl felt entitled to Pink Diamond's love, and she definitely wasn't. Rather, I'm saying that Pearl justified the emotional weight of doing something for Pink Diamond that she didn't want to do with the genuine belief that Pink Diamond loved her in return. Why would Pink ask her to do such a huge favor, to sacrifice everything but her, and tell Pearl that being on Earth with her was more important to her than her position as a diamond, or anything else in the universe? Why would she ask something like that of Pearl if she wouldn't be willing to do the same for her? Why would Pink ask Pearl over everyone else if she didn't value her more than everyone else? These are all things that Pearl probably used to spin the situation as positive regardless of how she actually felt. And this also explains why Pearl is so sensitive about believing that she was the closest to Rose. That's why when Lion came along, she was so skeptical and broke down over the idea that Rose even had a lion, because it's painful for her to believe that Rose was keeping such important details from her when she's been left with such a heavy emotional burden to live out the rest of her life with. That moment caused Pearl to manifest the events literally multiple layers deep into her psyche. She won't even shapeshift anymore because it reminds her of that event. Pink Diamond used Pearl by making her believe that there was something special between them, when in reality she just
can't exactly shatter myself.
You can argue that she chose Pearl because she trusts Pearl more than anyone else, but if that was true, why would she silence her? I might be wrong, but in my experience, when you trust someone, you don't have to take out a contingency plan to make sure they don't talk. She didn't trust Pearl more. Pearl was just the only one who knew the truth about Rose, and she didn't want it getting out to anyone else. If not, then maybe it was because she knew how Pearl felt about her and knew that she would be the easiest to persuade, which is a much darker take on it. Regardless, what I saw wasn't a moment of trust or closeness or even intimacy. It was manipulation. And I think somewhere inside herself, Pearl knows that. But Pearl doesn't want to see Pink Diamond for who she is. Pearl doesn't want to believe that someone she felt so deeply about would use her to make a political statement and then treat her like she's no different than anybody else, while she acts pretty promiscuously based on what we've been led to believe. Like, they made it seem like Rose was getting intimate with everyone but Pearl, and Pearl just had to live with that fact after everything that went down. So where's all this leave Steven? Well, I don't think I need to explain that Pink Diamond / Rose left so much for Steven to deal with. And it's not like she accidentally had Steven or had an untimely death. No, she literally shapeshifted a womb to carry Steven. But this means she chose exactly when to have her son. I mean, maybe not like the exact delivery date, but it was planned. She knew exactly what she was doing when she had Steven, and she had decided to neglect her responsibilities anyways. Maybe Pink Diamond did care about Steven and did want him to live happily on Earth, but as he said in Storm in the room,
I know you didn't want me to deal with your problems. You're a part of me now. I have to deal with what you left behind.
But something I want to make clear, even though we, the audience, have been misled about who Rose Quartz is, doesn't mean that Steven was. Steven's family still loved Rose. They loved the Rose that they knew, and they all gave him their honest perspective on her.
Like, nobody's trying to trick Steven into thinking something. Greg adores Rose.
He adores the Rose he knew.
Yeah, the Rose he knew, which was a very specific side of her. Everybody knew her in different ways, at different times, met her for different reasons, and she meant something different to each of them. And
based on this statement from Rebecca Sugar, we know that there was a side to Pink Diamond that was something like the person we thought Rose was. The main idea I've been trying to run with this whole video is that the creation of Rose Quartz by Pink Diamond was her trying to be who she wished she could be. But Pink Diamond herself lacked the qualities, lacked the emotional intelligence to actually become that person. However, I do believe that that person does exist through Steven. So many of the things that Rose Quartz failed to do, or actions that contradict the idea of who she was trying to be, have been redeemed by Steven at some point in the show.
Well, I think you're pretty great.
I believe a big reason that Pink Diamond wanted to become Steven is because of how infatuated and obsessed she was with the idea of humanity, and how badly she wanted to understand so many of the little things about being an Earthling. She knew that Steven was the closest she would ever get to experiencing that. Becoming Steven, even if she wouldn't be cognizant for it, was the closest Pink Diamond would ever come to being who Rose Quartz was really meant to be. And the fact that Steven has been a better Rose Quartz than his own mother is really a credit to Greg.
one thing I think that I like that slowly unfolds is I want people to realize that all of Steven's compassion is coming from Greg.
Pink Diamond's infatuation with Greg came from the fact that he understood and lived by so many of the things that she wished she could understand. And as a result, her son got a lot of those qualities she desired from his father, which is actually kind of nice. I'm not going to comment on where I think the show is going too much, but I see Steven's role transforming into who his mother wished she could have been, but also going his own way and finally being able to separate himself from the broken legacy that is Rose Quartz.
Then you really are better than her.
Steven has spent so much time having to live with his mother's mistakes and the grief of finding out the truth about her, but he's been raised with the idea of who his mother was, who she was when she was with Greg, who she was in the eyes of her peers. He's aspired towards that idea, and even though he may never reach it fully, he's managed to surpass his mother. Steven is compassionate, understanding, warm, and he's starting to become a pretty good leader. The show isn't about Pink Diamond or Rose Quartz, it's a coming-of-age story about Steven. From a writing perspective, there's nothing wrong with the fact that Rose Quartz was a lie the entire time, because as the aftermath of this reveal passes, I can see Steven moving out of his mother's shadow to fulfill his own destiny. I honestly wasn't a fan of how they went with the whole Rose actually being Pink Diamond thing, because it was a little bit obvious, but I'm optimistic for where the story goes, because I can see some really interesting possibilities. Now, whether or not they'll actually go with those possibilities is a different story, but either way, what do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below, hit me up on Twitter, do whatever you want, buy its shirt on Teespring. I'm not wearing my shirt right now, this is a William Haynes shirt. Hit us up on Patreon, do all that stuff, and if you want to attack me for criticizing a fictional character, I sincerely hope you get to go outside today and be nice to someone. And regardless, I love all of you and see you next time. Except for you, Rose. Thank you for watching Let's Talk with Tom on the Roundtable, but Tom isn't just on the Roundtable. I have my own self-titled personal channel. I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, I have a Snapchat, I have all that good stuff. In fact, I even have a Tumblr. So if you're interested in any of that, check that out, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.